If you keep going down, you get to the brain stem. So now we're at parts of the brain where you can pick up the nuts and bolts facts in the book. I'm not going to work through the detail. And by the way, just in case you're going to take the final exam, there won't be like hundreds of micro questions about whether the pons or the medulla did one thing or another. I'm going to avoid turning the end of the course into an anatomy class of the sort you could take by taking a class on neuroanatomy some other day. It's still a psychology class. But the idea here is that when you go further down, you get to these evolutionarily older brain regions. These are the ones that we essentially share with a whole range of species, all of whom have to do things like not get too hot, not get too cold, get some amount of sleep, core motives for sexually reproduce, breathe, take in enough oxygen that these things you totally take for granted, like you're breathing more heavily after you're running around the track 4 times, and you don't have to stop and tell yourself, oh, perhaps I should breathe more heavily. There's a system that's doing it automatically. That's still, as you must know from some biology class, that's still a brain function. So there's still a computation going on. It's not all your lungs deciding what to do. There's a brain function, and those types of computations are done in these lower regions of the brain, which of course makes sense evolutionarily, since the organisms wouldn't be there at all if they weren't, for example, breathing. And so what happened is if you run the in a sense, one could have run this whole class in the opposite direction, started with the brain stem and go up. I decided not to do that because then at the end of class you finally get to the interesting stuff, and at the beginning you spend all your time talking about breathing and digestion. But these lower level functions are done by the brainstem, and the cerebellum, finally there it is down there.